As I wandered around the gardens, my monuments aren't crumbly enough. A beheading or something. I found a better way down. It's quite hilly. Look at it. Weird Viking warrior. Hi, I'm Walt, and welcome to the beautiful and intriguing land of Scotland. Join me on my biggest ever road trip around the far north of England and the NC500 in my 20-year-old DIY Renault Traffic campervan. In this epic journey, I learn about myself, the landscape around me, and some of the basics of living in a van on the road. There are lots of ups and downs, twists and turns, and plenty of hidden gems are uncovered along the way as I meander into the wilderness. Let's begin with a detour to the city of Glasgow, a cultural hub that is home to a third of the Scottish population and is famous for its Victorian and Art Nouveau architecture. Here I explore the Necropolis, the Botanical Gardens and Cathedral, but first I had to find my way out of the forest through rather strange weather. Martyr's Tomb. It's the first loch that I've spotted on the trip. Loch Trool. Loch Trool. I think that's how you say it. My next stop was a bit further around Loch Trool, where I was able to find a suitable place to park for the night. It was here I also discovered a river with a few small waterfalls, so I decided to venture up a bit further in the rain. Now it's a case of how far down do you go? Well, I don't think I'm going to go any further because it's too steep. It's probably about as close as you can get to it without basically climbing. That's almost vertical, that drop. It's like difficult to show it. Forget that, I found a better way down. Found this little path. It's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a little path there. Slip down there, I'd have totally gone in that if it wasn't so fierce, because that little pool there looks like it would be alright in the summer. Look at this, you can see the waves there. We'll have to figure out how to come back in the summer. Lovely day. Oh, stunning views too. Ghostly sort of clouds coming across. Just noticed all those boulders on that hill behind me. Do you reckon it'd be alright? They just look a bit precarious. Look at this park up. Shall I stop here on the way home? It's so cool. It's literally just it's like a pile of rocks at the side of the road that sort of makes a parking space. That is dense forest. I bet this place would be well spooky at night. You'd have to be careful if it's windy, I suppose, because the trees keep falling over as well. There's a little Christmas tree there. God, look at these views. This area is still part of Galloway Forest, but further north, as I continued my journey towards Glasgow, I believed it to be the most direct and beautiful route. This is like 1 minute after that amazing sunshine shot that I took. And now it's like we're in a blizzard. Hailstorm. Look at it. This is mad. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to moving. Oh, wait a minute. There's still some sun over there. It's like snow now. Oh, it's like rocking the van. We're gonna get blown away here. Missed it all. 1 minute of hailstorm. My next stop was the city of Glasgow. I arrived late on the first evening, so the next morning I decided to explore the central area, which led me to the station. I then decided that the Botanical Gardens would be my next stop. You are currently looking at Kibble Palace, my starting point for the walk. It's a 19th century iron-framed glass house covering an area of 2,137 square metres. Glasgow Botanic Gardens is in the west end of Glasgow. It has a large selection of temperate and tropical flora and boasts exhibitions such as the UK's National Collection of Tree Ferns, a tropical cacti section, and even a World Rose Garden, which was probably outside somewhere, I'm not sure really. The site was once home to a railway line, with the remains of the disused station still in existence, although I didn't stumble upon it this time. As I wandered around the gardens, I was enjoying the warm, humid air, the smells of tropical plants, and the various sounds of water running and pattering. It's the most impressive botanic gardens that I've explored thus far. Some cherry blossom trees, I'm not sure. Might be. Just going to go and check out this museum and art gallery. Although I'm very low on battery, so I don't know if my phone's going to last. Been wandering around Glasgow, went to the Botanical Gardens, been sort of hanging around the university, went to a meet up, and I went to an art gallery, Hunterian art gallery, Hunterian. Ended up doing a sketch in the middle of the gallery of this piece, this like abstract bit of art. I'll show you the photo, but it didn't really work, but I gave it a go anyway, because I was just using a 2B pencil. Yeah, this was my sketch, but the painting was actually just basically colour with no outlines, so it was an impossible challenge. This is just a few little clips of the exhibitions inside the museum, although I didn't really feel comfortable filming much in here. Oh, it's just a few floating heads, you know, the standard. All buildings here are this sort of weird dark stone. I think that's the cathedral over there. I think that's probably the best view we're going to get of it from the outside. I'll go and have a wander in a minute if it's open. There are 50,000 people buried in the Glasgow Necropolis. Only a small percentage are named, and not all graves have stones. There are about 3,500 monuments situated on the grounds, so I made sure to film at least, 6 or 7. Let's see if we can make our way up to the top. Yeah, it's quite hilly, and you can sort of see bits and pieces poking out over the walls there, so I wonder how much There is, because you can't really see anything from down here. It's quite cool though. Well, I mean, it's alright, you know. As far as necropolises go, I reckon I could do better. I'll make one when I get home. Burials began in 1832 for Jewish burials only, though the necropolis was largely developed in the Victorian era, laid out like an informal park. There are many people of note buried here, and some rather prominent and grand-looking statues and sculptures stand out. It's a good entrance, isn't it? It's obviously a bit crumbly. All the writing's faded so much you can't even read it. I know there's a couple of note. Well, there's many of note, but I didn't make note before I left. Guess I was in a rush again. I like this kind of crumbling slate or granite or whatever it is they use. Oh yes, could I order 3,500 slabs of crumbly granite, please? Yes, it's just some of my monuments aren't crumbly enough. That one's been redone. The last entry was 1904, I think. So the rest of it's quite weathered. Good lord, it goes on for miles, doesn't it? That's just like a little section down there. And then there's all this. Yeah, just all of this. Just there. Lots of a change in there as well. Very echoey. I was sort of amazed by the size and scale of the cemetery, and the striking and intricate stonework and designs. Definitely worth a visit. I mean, you know, we've got the same name, so be rude not to. Yeah, if I'll get a cheeky thumbnail shot in there. Only because it's Walter, founder of Fossil Park. Yeah, I hadn't quite... Well, I had an idea of how big it was going to be, but it is spacious, this place. It's a bit like Greenbank, but much more... I mean, it's, you know, it's completely looked after and stuff. Similar size, I mean. Everything's much grander. Little house. Oh, we've had a beheading or something. I wonder if that was weathering. It kind of doesn't look... Looks like it's just kind of crumbled away, doesn't it? Yeah, or it's just been sliced in half with a sword. Dunno. Lots of Celtic crosses. Just pretending I know something about, like, graveyards and that. Oh, look at that. You can just see in between there. Part of the cathedral. So who is in here? Helen. I know, John I.R. Grandison. In memory of Helen, his sister. Helen Taylor, his mother. So it's kind of like a shrine, like a tomb containing more than one. Not sure. As I wandered further deeper down into the graveyard, or the necropolis, I was suddenly realising that it just had a slightly spooky vibe all of a sudden. Although that could have just been the light, the clouds, or my imagination. This is a very dramatic shot, this one. Yeah, so I was thinking about changing my hair again. I saw this musician, Romeo Taylor or something, and he had sort of... apparently he's like a bit of a local legend in Glasgow for gigs and stuff, but he's like a character, like a local character. They had this sort of long hair with like a fringe, you know, like a sort of old 70s rocker. And I've seen quite a lot of unique hair, particularly on men in Glasgow so far. So I think I'm going to have to do it. Well, I've got really straight hair, so it probably won't work, but I'm bored of it again. And I'd have to get something tartan, obviously. Like a tartan hat and a kilt. Go a bit Scottish. Yeah, and they've got very good beards as well. Like, really, you know. Don't know if mine grows that well. I'll give it a go. But overall, yeah, really interesting place as a city so far, Glasgow. Definitely going to try and come back on the way through. It's quite energetic, and it's kind of like a bigger version of Bristol in some ways, but it's very Scottish in other ways. It's lovely green roofs. Really adds to the contrast of the building with those like dark stones that sort of fade through weathering, I imagine sulphation or something. Glasgow Cathedral is the oldest building in Glasgow and the oldest cathedral on mainland Scotland. It is one of only 2 cathedrals to have survived the Reformation, more or less intact, with the other being in Orkney. The cathedral and necropolis together are thought to be their own district within the city of Glasgow. There was a first cathedral which was built in 1136, and the fragments were discovered beneath the current building originating from 1197. By all accounts, there was a major rebuilding in the 13th century. The building itself was truly remarkable and spectacular to look at, and I'd recommend a visit to anyone. I was particularly struck by the stained glass windows at both ends. I like looking like some kind of weird Viking warrior sat in a cosy little camper van. I need to start listening to that like Nordic music again. It's like a Viking music channel on YouTube. Danheim or something. He's like from Norway, I think. I don't know. Anyway, just left Glasgow this evening. Sort of falling in love with Glasgow a little bit, not gonna lie. And Scotland in general, but I mean, obviously I've only seen a little bit so far. Looking forward to Edinburgh. I've booked a gig for 2 weeks' time. No, less than 2 weeks. So I've got to stay on the road that long. That's kind of the next. So I've got to go round and then come back down to Edinburgh via Skye and probably Glencoe. I don't know how this is going to work out. Maybe that's not enough time. I haven't really thought this through, to be honest. Don't know. Well, it doesn't really matter if I miss it, but I do really want to go to it because it's a band that I've been wanting to see for ages. They're called Adwaith. Adwaith or Adwa? They're like Welsh trio. It's like female sort of alternative. It's like the Breeders or like PJ Harvey or something. It's got that sort of vibe. I want to do this. Like, I've had a couple of sort of the last couple of days, particularly earlier as well, because I was just really fucking tired. I just had like a complete sort of physical breakdown like yesterday. I had to keep sitting down on one. I tried to walk back to the van, it was too far. Basically, I've got a health condition and I just keep trying to push myself too far. So I need to slow down a bit. But yeah, I had a couple of sort of like, oh God, I can't do this moments. Definitely over the last few days. But I feel like now it's all good again. It's like, it's all fine. I've kind of got through it. And I've loaded up with water and fuel and food and everything, so I don't have to worry about anything now for a week. So I reckon if I had a bigger van, particularly on trips like this, like a slightly bigger van, like I really like this van, and there's no way I can afford anything else, but if I had a slightly bigger one, it might make life just ever so slightly easier, like if for these longer trips. Only bigger in the sense that this one's not very wide, and everything's like I'm tripping over everything. I think I just need to bring less stuff next time and just be more organised. That'd help a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. So now I'm parked north of Glasgow, only about 40 minutes out. Queen's Forest or something? I think that was the name of it. Just a park up spot that looked good. There's no one else here. It's like the middle of nowhere. And it feels really quiet and sort of safe, you know. But yeah, so I've just had a quick look on Google to see where I am, and there's something called Buchanan's Castle. It's near, oh, what's that, Loch? But this castle looks otherworldly. It's like an abandoned 150-year-old castle, 170-year-old. Looks so cool. Yeah, Glasgow is awesome. I love how buildings like really dark looking stone, and they kind of weather. I don't know whether it's sulfation or something, like acid rain and all that. It just makes them go black. But it looks really cool. It's like really different to, like, I know Bath and Bristol and that, and all the buildings there are like really light coloured. In Bath anyway. So it just kind of has this really cool sort of gothic look. Oh, and I did that. Yeah, I did that. Went to the art gallery, Hunterian Art Gallery, and did a little drawing and stuff with like part of a meet-up group. There was like only a handful of people, but I feel like I'm just going to do this and then be like, I want to do this full time. Like, I was really unsure a few days in. No, not a few days in. I still really like it. Like a few days ago, I was like, it's too hard. I can't. I'm too tired all the time. Like, but I think it's just kind of worth it sometimes. Like moments like this where I feel like I'm parked in a really good spot. I've got a plan again. So I don't know. I'm so up and down. Like, it's like really hard, but really rewarding at certain points. Yeah, the hardest thing so far is sort of probably the loneliness, like the isolation that I didn't expect because I'm really good at being on my own. But the last 2 or 3 days, I think that's why I headed into Glasgow, and it's kind of helped a lot, sort of interact with a few people and stuff. So, but I'm definitely feeling like I need to get a new group of friends and stuff, like, well, another group of friends, because I just don't know enough people. Somehow, I don't know how it's going to happen, considering on the road. I keep saying to people, I'll meet up with you when I get back. I don't know when I'm going to get back. Part of me is like, I want to rush back and just like, see if I can see people. Part of me is like, this really is kind of a once in a lifetime thing at the moment for me. I mean, it might happen again, but so far I've never done anything like this before, so I kind of just need to make the most of it and try not to worry about the other stuff that sort of is a bit silly, really, if I think about it. It's all just up in my mind, you know. It's just a bit chaotic. So, right, I'm just going to heat up some food and chill the fuck out, because I've been busy this weekend. So, yeah, cool, alright.